A fairy story. Here we go with fairy story A. This story. And this story is called Autumn. And let me get my ashes on here. And we will begin. Okay. Reading here. Hello, my name is Autumn. Can you guess what my favorite season is? That's right, it's autumn. You are very smart for a non-winged one. Now let me give you a little test. Let's see here. Got it? Okay. Question number 1. Can you see me? Oh, you can? Good. Most say no. What's my favorite color? Wrong. It's not green. I like a nice golden yellow. Number 3. What am I wearing? What? Did you just say it looks like tar paper? I hope you're just joking me. My dress is made of crow feathers. My hat is made of a red bird's feather and made to look like the bird's top knot. A spider web is the netting around my hat. My boots are also made from red bird's feathers with rose thorns as the heels. Number 4. What birds am I scared of? Owls and hawks? Oh no, not them. It's the crows and redbirds. Why, you ask? Well, think about it, you silly non-winged one. Do you know why yet? Well, okay, then I'll tell you. It's because I didn't just find these feathers on the ground. Oh no, I had to have nice clean ones. And where do you get nice clean ones? Right, you guessed it, right from the birds. But I forgot to ask for them and walked right up and yanked them out. Stop laughing. It's not funny. Okay, maybe it is. And how? When I was pulling on Mrs. Nose in the air, crow's feathers, I fell on my backside. That's when I found my spider web. I fell right into it, and blessed my lucky stars, the spider was not home. Oh, you want to know about the red feathers too? Nosy one, aren't you? But all right, I'll tell you about it. It was a week later when I got my red feathers. First off, red birds can fly faster than a crow. I didn't know this at the time, but oh boy, I found out pretty fast that day. Well, see, my feathers were on Mr. Tailfeather. I'm scared of nothing. Well, that's not true, I can tell you. See, he was sitting in a dogwood singing to a cute little red bird named June. And again, I didn't ask for feathers. I should have asked, you say? Well, I guess so. But if you was singing to a girl, would you want someone to ask you for something? Right, you wouldn't like it. So anyhow, I went on tiptoe behind him and started pulling. Next thing I know, I was up in the air flying, but I was not doing the flying. I was doing the screaming bloody murder and hanging on to Tailfeather's wing. We went above the oak trees, then through cedars, and over and under limbs. I was getting pretty beat up, I tell you. I was hurting in places unknown to fairy kind. The girl bird was trying to catch him, and she finally got in front of him, but he was screaming and trying to get away from the huge feather-eating worm. Spell it? Okay, GRWORM. What is a worm? I'll tell you later, okay? Now, like I said, she was in front of him, and he didn't see her. Next thing we all knew was them two wrapped up in bird wings and toes trying to fly apart, and me falling yet again. But this time I was wishing for the web. I fell right into a wild rose bush. So now you can see how I got the rose thorns for my heels. Pretty dramatic. Number 5. What pets scare me the most? Don't you know? It's the fish. You try flying and have a fish spit water at you and then go falling into their tank. I don't swim good and my wings get all wet. But then Mr. and Mrs. Tomcat will see the fish trying to eat me and come over to help me out. They put their heads in the tank and I grab their whiskers and hop on their necks. So if you see a cat looking into the fish tank, please let it be. I might need help. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you about the worms. The worm is the thing both birds and fairies fear above all things. They are mean and only eat feathers and fairy wings. They sleep in the hot summer, but early spring and late fall and winter, they are on the move. They are scary looking things. Their wings are gnat wings, their tails rabbit tails, bodies like a worm, beaks like an ostrich. They are red and their ears look like mice ears. And as you can see, that spells. Number 6. What do you think my house is made of? No, no. What makes you think a pretty lady like me would live underground? You heard fairies do? Well, we don't live underground. That's where the worms live, my dear. We make our homes, some in trees. Me? No, I made mine out of a big rocks, then covered it with a honeysuckle vine. How did I pick the big rocks up? Well, I called them big rocks, but you would call them pebbles. But to me, they are big rocks. What? Do I live by myself? Yes, I do. No, no boyfriends, and I have no best friend. See, they all say I'm crazy for living in my rock house and for wearing feathers. I guess I can understand that. I mean, the worms love feathers and fairy wings, and I have both. I think they are all scared of me to be around me. You think that's sad? Well, it is at that, and I do get lonely at times. That's very true. But that's just how it is, I guess. What's that? Oh, what do I do for fun? I love to hop on falling leaves and ride them down to the ground. Falling leaves are fun to ride, and different kinds of winds make it that much more fun. A breeze will have you going slow, but not straight down. It's more of a zigzag. I like that wind blowing hard. That makes for a fun ride. I hop on and off I go, and I never know where I'll end up, which sometimes can be something to worry about. I recall one time jumping on one just before a twister showed up. Boy, the wind was blowing that day. I jumped on and away I went. Oh, what fun that ride was. I was up, then down, then upside down, then sideways. Oh, but when the ride stopped, oh dear me, that wasn't fun. I had went through a window of the fairy castle, and my leaf came to rest on the royal table in the royal dining room, just at the wrong time. The king and queen and their son was eating and I came to rest on the royal plum pie. Stop laughing. This is no laughing matter. It wasn't all that funny, believe me. The king yelled for the guards to throw me in the water. The queen yelled, "Off with her head." If not for their son, I might not be here today. He yelled for them to all stop and was laughing so hard at his mom and dad that they too started laughing. He called for the queen's fairies in waiting to help me to the royal bath. I was a plum from head to toe. More than once, I would end up in the castle, so much that they started calling me the Royal Leaf Fairy. Please stop calling me Plum Fairy. I don't call you ugly non-winged one, do I? What? Oh, you want to know what the queen wears? Well, her favorite dress is made of yellow and orange rose petals. I picked the petals one day, then flew on a leaf to their castle. The petals was a gift for her birthday. We sat down and made the dress together. The castle is in the corner of a flower bed, out of view from everything. Only us fairies can see it. It is magic. That keeps it from view. It's made of gemstones, ruby, jade, agate, and all kinds of gold, too. Sorry, I can't tell you any more about the castle. I might lose my head if I do. I have told you too much about it. The non-winged ones are not to know anything about it. Nothing at all. So please, don't go repeating what I said about it. What do I do for fun when leaves are not falling? Well, I carry a little knife to cut the leaf stems so I can ride them. So I run into anything? Oh boy, do I. Trees. They laugh and say, "Little fairy, you must be more careful, or you will get a splinter up your nose one day." And I'll say, with blood pouring out of my nose, "Yeah, if no twist." And sometimes I hit the back of people's heads, and they think a bug has landed in their hair. The lady people yell and jump around like grasshoppers. Unwinged ones are so silly. One day I landed in a wormhole, but it was summer, so I was safe because they were all sleeping. How about wintertime? Well, no leaves, you know. So I don't like winter at all. No leaves, and all the worms are out and about. Life can be very boring in the winter. I sit at home and make things like dresses and pants. I'm great at sewing, so that's my job here. Since the queen found out I could sew, I make dresses out of petals and pants out of leaves. I make hats out of acorns and mushrooms. The shoes will be made of something the outfit is. In the spring, when the leaves are little, is when I sell what I made that winter. How much money do I get? What is money? Oh, that's what it is. No, I don't get money. I get what the fairies make. We trade things. Like what? Well, baked goods, teas, tools, fresh fruit, sometimes, and things for my home. By the way, is our interview over yet? That's good because I see a leaf with my name on it. Good day to you, non winged one. Peace be with you. The end. And that was Autumn, written November 3rd, 2016, by Rebecca Hillhouse. And that does it for our letter A fairy story. And we'll be back with letter B. It's dark. Good night.